Bonjour.
Bonjour.
Dear friends, we're in beautiful Raymond Vineyards in the heart of Napa Valley in our new fabulous cabanas. I'm with a phenomenal lady. As you all know, you've met her many times. Besides her gorgeous, beautiful blue eyes and fabulous red hair, she is the executive director of Napa Green. Anna Brittain leads the major pillars of the conversion of Napa and the world of agriculture into becoming a better place. We've talked about many great topics, 3 pillars so far. We're going to approach the 4th one today, which is all about water efficiency. And this is one of the most important topics. Wherever you are around the world, you could really help. From morning shower to watering plants, to keeping your garden green, to everything else. And we're going to spend a lot of fun time with Anna on water, because it does not just concern your business, your winery, your agricultural facility, but as well you at home.
Yes.
Absolutely. And you could do so much.
Yes.
So Anna, welcome to Raymond.
Thank you for having me again.
It's such a pleasure. So Anna, maybe before we dive into water, Napa Thrives have been an incredible success.
Thank you, yes.
Do you want to tell again everybody about it and what has happened lately?
Yes, so we just did our premier symposium throughout June. It was a total of 6 events across these same 6 pillars of sustainable wine growing leadership that we've all been talking about. The concept arose out of, I was at one too many conferences where people were saying sustainability is confusing, it doesn't have a clear definition, it doesn't really mean anything, it's not that rigorous. And I stamped my foot and said, dang it, there really are 6 pillars of leadership that any program, especially any agricultural program, has to be working on in order to really be a sustainability leader. So we've already talked through several of them. We're going to talk through water efficiency today, but there's energy efficiency, and there's a huge relationship between energy efficiency and water efficiency. There's waste prevention and green purchasing, the purchasing power that you all can use at home in terms of supporting green products. There's social equity and justice and inclusion, which we've already talked about.
Yes.
And then there's integrated pest management and regenerative farming, which we'll definitely talk about and is a huge topic for Boisset. And all of that rolls into climate action and all of that overarching work that we need to do. So we had 6 events across those 6 topics. We had almost 600 guests for a premier event. Pretty exciting. And we'll be doing it all again next year. So we'll share more about that.
Well, it's very exciting because Anna has the talent as well to bring it to all of us. Many of you run restaurants, wine programs all around the world, in hotels and in homes and in different businesses. And we cannot just be foreign to the idea that the climate is changing and we all need to be an actor of evolving with that change. So maybe we want to give a little update. We are set the stage. We're in July.
Yes.
I mean, temperatures are crazy.
Yes.
Give us what's happening here in Napa Valley.
Well, first of all, and this really struck me a few months ago when I read it, here in California, we're in a 1,200-year drought. A 1,200-year drought, meaning there hasn't been a drought this bad in 1,200 years. And of course, you can see right behind us the vineyard, and vineyards by and large are overall a very efficient form of agriculture in terms of water use, because maybe you can see it in the background, they're all pretty much already converted to drip irrigation, which is very efficient. But then what's really important to think about, and something that we work with all of our members and growers on, is making sure that irrigation system is functioning as efficiently as possible. And this relates at home too, right? You might put in drip irrigation, but then you need to be checking those little emitters to make sure they're actually working, they're not plugged, make sure there aren't any leaks, which is a big thing that we see in terms of irrigation. So we work with all of our growers to do, it's not going to sound sexy, but we do a uniformity assessment to help them make sure that their system is functioning as efficiently as possible and that the water is getting delivered evenly. Yeah. You don't want any one plant to be getting a whole bunch and the other one's barely getting any.
Well said.
And that really relates to quality. In terms of that proper timing, that proper amount of water for grapes is very essential to the quality of this amazing wine that we're drinking. So in the vineyard side, that's very, very critical. And then another area that anyone can relate to is landscaping. And I have to say, because at all of our member wineries and vineyards, we baseline and track everyone's water use. And actually, decorative landscaping is a huge water user. Yes. So we all have to be thinking about the plants we plant, drought tolerant, native, the irrigation we're using. Don't do roses. Sorry, roses are a huge water suck. Limit your rose plantings and moving away from some of the lawns when we can, because those are a big water user as well.
And we've done a lot of that.
You've
here,
changed
as you can
out.
see.
Yeah.
And we have a whole other wing of the winery, which is in between our two, outdoor living room and the main winery, where we're going to convert into those gravels as well.
Oh, are you? Nice.
Yes, we will, because one, we could put tables, or we could do games. Yeah. It's still beautiful, and we minimize water. So to your point, we can all do that. What else do you recommend we, as common people not running a business dealing with agriculture or viticulture or landscaping, can impact our world positively?
Well, in terms of water, I mean, again, as I said, almost all of us have some kind of outdoor area. So really thinking about the water use there. And then inside, actually, I think there's a lot of parallels between home and in the winery, actually. A lot of your water use at home is around cleaning. And that we find that's very true in the winery as well, because of the tanks and the barrels and the bottling line. Those all have to be clean. Those all have to be sanitized. So it's to a lot of just mindfulness about ways that you can save water when you're doing those things.
Yeah.
In the winery, some people have been going to steam for barrel cleaning, so you're using less water, just fewer rinse steps. And I think that's something we can think about at home as well. It's some of the things we talk about all the time. Shorter showers. We don't need to be that clean.
No, but that's true.
It's true, but it's one of those things.
And now, I really feel, I just came back from 3 weeks in Europe, and
I saw some pictures. Look beautiful.
Thank you, and I'm going back again at the end of the week. I've never seen so much public awareness. I've never seen so much signage.
Yeah.
I've never seen so many disposable garbages in not only museums, but public places.
Yeah.
What do you think we should all do more of in order to bring not only greater awareness, but greater efficiency?
Well, I think this is really big. There's so much out there. I'm hoping everyone on here will agree. Showing that people want to use their purchasing power to support good products, but they're having a hard time figuring out which ones those are, and which ones are doing it with a level of rigor and depth and a really systematic approach. And so that's where one of the things we do here is, if you're driving up and down the valley, you see the Napa Green certified signs. And that's been starting a conversation. Then people go in and they say, what does that mean? And then they go to a property without one, which is not yours, and they say, why don't you have a Napa Green certified sign? Why aren't you a part of that program? More and more people, we were just talking about, are putting logos on the bottle. And that helps people pick up and go, 2 amazing wines, but this one is certified sustainable. I'm going to go with that. So that
hours are coming, dear friends.
Yes,
on the next vintages, you will see it.
I hope so. Yes, we were just talking about that. So that building awareness and helping people with the quick cues that helps them make really quick decisions, help all of you make quick decisions about which products they should be supporting, is very, very important. And I think, water is, as you said, it's across the board. And I think one of the things we've struggled with water is this perception that it's cheap or it's free. But it's actually not. Think about how much energy it takes to transport, to treat, and to heat water. There's actually a huge energy bill. A lot of the energy bill every winery is getting, every home is getting, is around your water use, actually.
That's right.
So if you think about, when do I not need hot water? Like they've proven in the laundry machine, actually hot water doesn't make your clothes cleaner. You can go with cold, it makes them just as clean.
That's right.
So things like that are really big. And of course, all of this relates to climate change. One of the biggest impacts we're having in terms of climate change, at least here in California, I would say the whole world, is around water and precipitation. And less snow is falling on the Sierras, more rain. That means less snowpack that's slowly melting into the summer right now when we need it for irrigation. So we have to be thinking about this really systematically, because it's here. The climate crisis is here, and water is one of the most critical issues that we have to be working on.
For sure. And we have this beautiful blue label.
Yes.
So
on topic for water.
Always give us great comments on the wine.
This
Why
is beautiful
don't you describe this wine? Because we wanted two things. One, to be obviously the ocean and water, but then the beautiful blue eyes of Anna Brittain. Very important.
I always come back here just for the compliment.
Well, it's great to deliver such a powerful message in beautiful style, as you so well do, and we are so excited to have Anna lead this Napa Green effort, because I need to tell you, your impact has been great in the valley. I've never seen so many signs. I've never seen so much commitment. I've been here for over 10 years now. And when we started to convert Raymond into organic and biodynamic, a lot of people said, what is this? What are you doing? So many hundreds of acres in conversion, you're taking so much risk. And we said, we're taking risks, but the end quality is amazing thanks to it. On top of it, and maybe you want to touch on that, and we'll go back to water, but touch on the conversion help us to create greater quality. Organic helps us to make better vegetables, fruit, herbs, and obviously grapes.
Yes. Well, and let me talk on this about this wine first, because it just has such incredible depth, and it's so velvety. Although then I just realized the label is velvet, so maybe that was planted in my mind. But it is. It's a beautiful, beautiful wine, and you do make higher quality wines using the right amount of water and using the organic and biodynamic practices. And the great thing about a lot of those practices, and we'll talk more about this when we talk about integrated pest management and regenerative farming, but is a lot of those practices like compost and cover crops and reduced tillage all actually help with water retention in the soil, meaning you need less irrigation. At just this time of year, when a lot of people are starting to irrigate, is when we have the least amount of water available to us. So this all comes together, it does, and that also tends to drive, speaking of depth, the roots deeper.
That's
so they're
right.
going deeper and finding the water rather than needing it to be delivered to them right along the surface. So
now
so much to this.
I'm so glad you say that, and thank you for the compliments on the wine. That's one of the topics I wanted to touch on briefly as a very focused vineyard team we have. What's your view of dry farming and in Burgundy, in the Beaujolais, in the Rhône and the south of France, as an example, we don't irrigate. It's not allowed.
Yeah.
So do you feel vineyards here can perform as well, dry farmed?
This is interesting. So this is a topic we were just touching on at Napa Thrives. Todd Mastero, who's the winemaker at Dominus, you might know him.
Very well.
They're all dry farmed. And
Christian Wex, who's been on the show with us.
Lovely.
For sure.
He's they're both extremely thoughtful people, and all of their vineyards are dry farmed. But I've talked to Todd about this really extensively, and there is sort of a misnomer belief that you can just turn off the irrigation. You can't do that. A vineyard actually has to be designed from the very start to be dry farmed. There's all kinds of things, orientation, canopy, all of those things. And so that thought process, how you prune, even Todd and I talked a lot about pruning, that all has to really be thought through from the start. And of course, it's definitely easier for valley floor vineyards in terms of access to water, in terms of just managing the vineyard as opposed to terraces on the hillsides. So it's not realistic here, I think, especially because we have some different precipitation patterns than Burgundy.
Yes.
But certainly it's happening here, and more of it could happen here, especially as people are changing out vineyards. So actually Todd, during Thrives, he served as a mentor to Pine Ridge, who's now changing out a vineyard, and they're saying, okay, now that I'm replanting, I can start fresh, I can think about exactly how I want to design this, and so they're going to design it to be dry farmed. So we do see some of that happening.
So we do see that, and who knows? I believe, having had this discussion as an example with Christian Wex from Dominus, we believe if we start well with the vines or the plants, and the first 3-4 years of adolescence are really well managed, maybe we can really minimize the intake of water, and certainly sometimes even just eliminate it fully.
Yeah, Todd was pointing out if we did one irrigation of our vineyard, it would be 1 million gallons of water.
Wow.
So what they're saving by not doing that is incredible. You do have to establish the plants. They need a little bit of drink, as you're saying, the first 3 or 4 years, but then it can go over.
As we all do.
Yes, we all need a little bit of excellent drink.
And final question on this topic, which is more to our friends shopping for meat and beautiful steaks and all that. There's a big dilemma, of course, in agriculture, that if we were limiting the amount of beef, as an example, and all that, a cow uses an enormous amount of water, as we know, same as the field where all that is being raised.
All the corn and all the soy that feeds the cow needs a lot of water.
So what's your view there?
Well, I'm a lifelong vegetarian, so I've been a vegetarian from the womb. So I'm lucky I don't miss meat, right?
That's
and
right.
I don't try to...
And look at the results. So
okay.
do we really need meat?
Doing okay. But I don't try to tell people not to eat meat. But
Yes.
we've come to a place where we're eating it 3 meals a day, and that's just not healthy even,
Yes.
let alone realistic for the planet. So it is actually one of the most impactful things you can do is reduce your meat consumption, and then again be very thoughtful about what you're purchasing organic, purchasing free range, all of those things. It's truly, they've shown it's one of the biggest ways that you can make a decision at home to have a really positive change. And meat, I mean, it's everything. It's agriculture, it's water use, it's energy use, it's a lot of wastewater that has to be
That's
processed.
right.
It's transportation and distribution and the fuel that goes into that. So it is one of those things that you can make a big difference just by cut it in half, and then you might also lose some weight.
Well, I'm going to follow that advice, dear friends. So, Anna, as always, amazing discussions together here in Napa Valley. Anything you want to leave as a big thought to all our friends with us from all over the world?
Well, make sure that when you come and visit the Napa Valley, you come and visit our Napa Green certified wineries, and definitely this beautiful location here with this gorgeous new outdoor furniture. It's just perfect today. So come and join us and meet with us, and we'll talk more about what we're doing.
And dear friends, as you further consume wine, look at the back label. A lot of us are moving now, thanks to Anna, into this further marketing message, which will be Napa Green on the back label, which is very important for all of us and for all of you to be part of the circle.
Yes.
To a greater family, eco-friendly.
Yes. Santé.